Adrian Wojnarowski from over at ESPN has reported that the Kings have bowed out of the Ben Simmons deal in negotiations in order to essentially explore other options in order to change their team. Because, look, James, I don't know how much you get a chance to watch the Kings, but I'm not sure there has been a team in need of a roster shakeup more in the last like 4 years. It's crazy. This team like desperately needs to like do something just to change the vibes, change everything around the team. And if Daryl Morey is going to continue to hand wring and do this, I get it. If I'm the Kings, like I think it makes sense for them to just kind of move on and hopefully be able to get back in once this trade deadline gets closer and closer, given the way that these negotiations often become public and the way that prices can tend to drop. And as we get to the deadline, things can change. But for now, the Kings are out of the Ben Simmons deal. What are your thoughts originally as we jump into this?
Like you said at the top of the segment, if any team needs a shocking or major roster shakeup, it is the Kings. I agree. So when all this talk was coming out of who was going to trade for Ben Simmons, realistically, like we see team names and reports, and those of us on the end like know who's real and who's not. I thought the Kings obviously were real and it is legitimate, and that was one of the teams I did like because that like you said, like the Kings have been stale for many years, but it's been different iterations of stale with different players. In this group specifically, it needs to be they need to be shaken up, and I don't know how else you would get a major shakeup without going all in on a guy like Ben Simmons. I think that they have the pieces to do individual trades or like maybe 2 or 3 trades. You could do like if you wanted to trade De'Aaron Fox and Rashawn Holmes to get something nice, you might be able to. If you wanted to trade Buddy separately, Harrison, so like you could probably get some nice stuff, but is it enough stuff that you're on square 2 instead of square 1? Like I think Ben Simmons in kind of resetting and maybe, of course, maybe being bad this year, but resetting and getting a cornerstone like that was intriguing to me. But I also understand the Kings' point. Like you don't want to get pulled a fast one on you. And based on what we've heard about what Morey wants for Ben Simmons, I don't know if I personally would give up all of that, and I'd rather wait it out and maybe see if you can get something less or get him for less.
The interesting part about all of this for the Kings is Tyrese Halliburton has kind of passed De'Aaron Fox in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron Fox has not had his best year. I think it's reasonable to assume that he will play better at some point. Tyrese Halliburton over the last like 2 months has been amazing. He's averaging like 17 points, 9 assists, like a couple of steals a game. He rebounds reasonably well. He's starting to knock down pull-up jumpers. To me, he's the guy that you build around. I'm doing everything I can to make him the best player he can be.
Yep.
Trading for Ben Simmons is an interesting player for Tyrese Halliburton, given that Tyrese is a bigger point guard. He can handle the ball, but I also think I want like a secondary ball handler next to him in some respect because he's not like the most dynamic player in the NBA with the ball in his hands. He's an incredible decision maker. He's an incredible passer, incredible feel for the game. He's become a really high-level pull-up shooter. Just in terms of his shit off the bounce, I don't think he's like the most amazing guy that you'll find in the league.
Nope.
Ben Simmons, I think, could help that.
Yeah.
The thing is that you can't have Ben Simmons and De'Aaron Fox, I don't think.
No,
I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross to me. And if I were the Kings, like you said, De'Aaron just has not been good this year, and I don't think that could be part of the situation going on in Sacramento. Maybe it is uninspiring and whatever X, Y, and Z, but yeah, just a Simmons and De'Aaron Fox, I just don't know where that gets you. And I agree that Halliburton, that's kind of why I left him off when I said the guys that could do individual piece for. I think that's the guy you build around now because one, like you said, he's just made major improvements. I think he's exceeded. We all liked him coming in the draft, but I kind of just thought he would be what he showed as a rookie. I was like, I could see him just doing that for 10 years and be a really good player, but he's taken it to another level. And I think he's one of those, he is one of those guys where can play on the ball, off the ball, and
Yep.
obviously much better than Fox. And you can just build around that much easier. It's similar, obviously, situation in Detroit with Cade. Like when you get a guy like that, the flexibility in terms of roster building just is enormous. So Halliburton, I agree, is the one untouchable if I were the Kings, of course, unless something crazy comes up. But and especially in a Ben Simmons trade, I wouldn't give up Halliburton. That's the guy I would, pushing forward, that's the guy I would want to keep around if I can.
And if I was Daryl Morey, I don't know how interested I would be in De'Aaron Fox as a fit with Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Because so much of what De'Aaron Fox does is based off the speed, transition. De'Aaron plays hard defensively. He's not an awesome defender at this point. I would need a good amount more, I guess, in addition to De'Aaron Fox, to move Ben Simmons for him. And I don't know if the Kings will want to do that. It's a weird... Finding something that makes sense for Sacramento for Ben Simmons has always been a little bit tricky for me. You can find iterations that make a lot of sense for Philadelphia. Halliburton, Hield, Harrison Barnes, all those guys can really help. But if you're moving Halliburton and you're pairing Ben Simmons with De'Aaron Fox, it doesn't make a ton of sense. If you're pairing De'Aaron Fox with Joel Embiid, it doesn't make a crazy amount of sense to me.
Yep.
So I understand the idea of just wanting to get the best talent that you can. And Monty McNair comes from the Daryl Morey, Houston Rockets tree. I understand the idea that he might want to go down that road of just getting the guys in that you want, and then you can build the roster around them in the way that you see fit. Whenever you have core pieces, I think, that don't fit quite as well together, I think that idea becomes a bit more challenging. Yeah, I understand the Kings bowing out, and I'll be interested to see what the Kings do because, good Lord, again, please, Sacramento, make a trade.
Do something.
Like, dude, you're driving Alvin Gentry to drink. Like, please.
He's
please
too nice
make
of a
move.
guy. I don't like seeing Gentry stressed out. He's like the nicest guy in the league.
Seriously, the first time I ever met Alvin Gentry was probably 3 years ago at the NBA Draft Combine, and I just ran into him in one of the hotel lobbies where the NBA teams are staying and everything. And you just kind of run into people down there, and he knew exactly who I was. Couldn't have been have been a nicer person in the world. Just like such a good dude. And you're driving that man to drink. Like, please do something.
Stop it. God damn it, Sacramento.
Stop it. Stop making such a nice man struggle through what you're putting him through. Okay. The second